The movie starts in a diner, where a single mother, Nina Harrison, is having breakfast with her only son, Dorian. Nina takes out her old camcorder and starts taking videos of Dorian as it is his first day of college. Dorian is engrossed in listening to his mother, but he accidentally sprays some ketchup on his shirt. So, he asks his mom to begin recording once more. To her amazement, everything around her is brought back into the past when she pushes the rewind button on the camcorder, like she stumbled upon a glitch in the Matrix. The incident leaves Nina speechless, and she starts breathing heavily. However, as the previous incidents are about to repeat, she quickly restrains her son from squirting the ketchup again. She then questions him about the stain on his shirt, but, unsurprisingly, Dorian can't remember and is confused. Nina thus assumes that she had a déjà vu and the two go on with their day. Next, the two hit the road and proceed towards Dorian's new school. As Dorian is driving, he takes out the camcorder and starts recording. In the heat of the moment, he also crosses the speed limit, but their fun is cut short when a police car starts chasing them. Nina tells her son to stop the car, and he does. At first, the officer, Lasky, taunts them for being black, and then inquires if they have any guns with them. Dorian is obviously upset by the racist comments and attempts to respond, but his mother soothes him. But the officer continues to tease them. Suddenly he sees the camcorder is still recording, and yells at Nina to stop it. Dorian tells him that they have the right to record, but Lasky forcefully tries to grab it. In the scuffle, Nina accidentally pushes the rewind button, and as soon as she does so, the time rewinds, and the two are taken back to 5 minutes in the past, where the officer hadn't approached them. This time, though, Nina is very tired, as though the time jump had sucked her energy out of her. Seeing her, Dorian gets worried, and pulls over at the same location as before. Officer Lasky comes back to them as he attempts to console his mother. Although the Harrisons haven't done anything wrong this time, he still manages to bring up an excuse to humiliate them. When someone pulls over, a small part of the car is still touching the road, which is illegal, Lasky says. Hearing this, Dorian gets angry as his mom is in serious need of help. He confronts the officer that they have bigger things to worry about, but Lasky is adamant on punishing them. When Dorian refuses to retreat, Lasky pulls out his gun and is ready to shoot. Luckily, Nina, who is still holding the camera, presses the rewind button and saves them from the situation. This time, she presses the button for a long time, returning them to the diner. It's revealed that Lasky has been dining with them from the first scene, and begins to harass them repeatedly due to his racism. When she realizes that her son is in danger, Nina immediately takes off with him, and this time it's her turn to take the lead. She also takes the long way, hoping that they'll finally avoid the racist cop. Of course, Dorian is confused by his mother's sudden change of behavior, but she tells him it's okay. The duo then starts bonding over a song, and decides to skip school so that they can spend some time together. Later, they go to a motel and they intend to have junk food. Nina watches a lottery show on TV and comes up with a plan. Initially, she secretly writes the numbers that are being drawn. Then, she comments on how foolish the lottery is, but Dorian feels it's not all completely random. He is a believer in predestination and the theory that if it's meant to be, it is. In the meantime, Nina pushes the rewind button, but not far enough to go back in time before the lottery numbers are drawn. She then calls out the numbers correctly, and her son is left in amazement. She also guarantees to win the next lottery for them, but when Nina thinks that they have somehow deflected the threat, there is a sudden knock at the door. When Dorian opens the door, her worst fears come true. Officer Lasky has once again followed them, and he says that he received a noise complaint call. Weirdly, he assumes the mom-son duo to be a couple, and asks them to bring out their identities. And once again, Dorian becomes angry, as they have done nothing wrong. He tries to make the cop leave, but just then, the latter notices the camcorder in Nina's hands. Then, Lasky attempts to force his way into the house, and a fight breaks out between him and Dorian. The racist cop slams Nina's son's head into a nearby glass frame and is about to shoot her son, watching in horror. But before he can do so, Nina rewinds the time and takes them back to the diner. This time, she realizes that no matter where she hides, the officer will manage to find them. It seems as if the Matrix has destined the Harrisons to be apprehended by the racist cop. So, Nina tries to do something new and moves away from her table to talk to Lasky. Her idea is to gain the officer's confidence by starting a conversation. At first, she introduces herself and buys a pie for him, mentioning that she is indebted towards his services for the country. He takes her goodwill but says that he does not know her. So, To win his trust even more, Nina begins to tell him that her son is her all and that he is going to college starting today. Then, she asks about his family, and the officer emotionally replies that his wife passed away several years earlier and that life has been hard for him ever since. Hearing this, Nina offers her condolences and an appreciative Lasky thanks her for the pie and gets up. But before Nina can leave, he notices her car and inquires if she bought it herself. Lasky tells Nina to show him the car ownership and registration papers, but she says she worked very hard for it. Nina hears this and immediately gets angry and begins yelling that she doesn't need to show any of those papers. Dorian tries calming his mother down, but she doesn't listen. He has no other option but to go into the car to get his phone, since he had taken a picture of the registration papers earlier. But as soon as he pulls out his cell phone, the cop thinks it's something else and shoots him right through the chest, without hesitation. Nina is devastated when Dorian dies on the spot, and she drops her camcorder on the ground. In the next scene, Nina is at the hospital, where she has been called to identify her son's body. After all the formalities have been completed, Nina asks the head doctor about her camcorder, which she had with her during the incident. Nina returns her camcorder shortly after, and before she hits the rewind button, she prays to God that it will work. It does, fortunately, and again, it's back to the diner scene. Nina is happy to see her son alive and well, and hugs him right away. Now, having learned her lesson a few times, she decides to get out of the diner before Officer Lasky even arrives. But as they are leaving, they meet with the officer, but he just lets them in through the door. Later, Nina parks near an abandoned house, and eventually tells her son everything. She mentions that the camcorder has supernatural abilities, with the help of which they can rewind back in time. She also mentions the racist officer, and how he follows them around everywhere. She then pleads with Dorian to help her find a way to break the loop. Dorian realizes his mom is telling the truth and begins to think of ideas. An idea suddenly comes to his mind, and he suggests that they get off the road as soon as possible and go to his uncle's house. After a while, they reach a neighborhood, which appears to be the place Nina was raised in. Thus she tells Dorian how her older brothers were shot dead by the police officers and how she has been traumatized since that time. Soon they are greeted by her other brother, Neil, who still lives there, but the two seem to be unfriendly towards each other. He is still angry that she didn't attend their father's funeral. However, on seeing his sister in a bad condition, Neil takes the mom-son duo inside. There, Nina explains everything to her estranged brother and asks for his help to stop Officer Lasky. She does her best to make him understand that she is not lying, and surprisingly, Neil, who is a loyal brother and supporter of movements such as Black Lives Matter, immediately believes her. It is then discovered that the camcorder was previously owned by their father before he gave it to Nina. Besides, Neil tells us that their father used to tell them tales of magic like this. Perhaps, he even used the camcorder several times to save him from a messy situation. With this knowledge, the brother-sister duo finally reconciles and hugs each other. The three sit around that night and begin to plot to prevent the inevitable. Neil suggests that they send Dorian to college because it's the only place where other people can help. It turns out that Dorian is admitted to an all-black college, so if Lasky tries harassing them there, the others will revolt. However, they must reach the college, which is extremely hazardous by road. Hence, Neil plans out a shortcut route for Dorian to make it to the school unnoticed. He employs his own blueprints of the town he has created over the years. In the next scene, Neil leads them inside an underground tunnel, which he claims was used several decades ago as a mining base. On the way, Nina and Neil recall their childhood days and their late father. Soon after, they get out of the tunnel, which takes them directly to the college. Dorian is elated to see so many students there and can't wait to interact with them. But as the three keep going towards the entrance, the villain, Officer Lasky, suddenly shows up. He tells them to halt and asks them what they were doing in the tunnel. Nina is frightened and attempts to remove her son, but the officer removes his gun and holds it at them. Seeing this, Neil puts himself in harm's way and dares the officer to shoot. At the same time, some other police officers arrive at the scene with their guns. When she is tired of the injustice and discrimination she's endured at the hands of Lasky, Nina takes matters into her own hands and begins filming the cops with her camcorder. Dorian tells her to press rewind and start over again, but this time she doesn't. Instead, she secures the camcorder, and now, it's too late. The other students in the college are impressed with her courage and bring their cell phones out as well and begin recording the incident. Initially, Lasky dismisses the notion of being daunted by a camcorder, but, as everyone's eyes are on her, Nina begins to talk. She She berates Lasky for abusing his authority and harassing others just because of their skin color. She also calls him out for being a corrupt officer who only cares about himself and not the welfare of other people. Realizing that they are fighting a losing battle, the other cops back off and proceed towards their car, but Lasky is still adamant on teaching Nina a lesson. He's about to shoot his gun and put it to bed. However, he looks around and notices all the students have their cameras out, and he is frightened and drops his gun. Nina taunts him as being a loser as he walks away. Thus, with the assistance of Neil and a group of students, the Harrisons break the cycle they had been caught in. Cut to several years later, Dorian has now become a father and has managed to do well with his life. While he is playing with his daughter, Nina records them happily using the same camcorder. Just then, the little girl takes the camcorder and accidentally drops it to the ground, breaking it into pieces. Seeing this, a heartbroken Nina immediately goes to the pieces, which had always been with her through thick and thin. It has become so common that it has begun to impact her everyday life. Dorian lifts her up and encourages her to get on with her life as she sobs in grief. He tells her that now they can make real memories without having to depend on a device. The film concludes with Nina embarking on a new path in her life, one that is without the camcorder that saved her numerous times before. However, when the scene fades black, police sirens are heard, indicating that she has to deal with the officer once again, but this time with no rewind option. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.